Happy Thursday. All right, let me just share this into a couple groups real quick. If you're hopping on, not right now, babe. If you're hopping on, let me know where you are watching from. Hi. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I am going to tell you guys the winner of January's Amazon gift card. Hi, Rhonda. So all of y'all that have been sharing my videos, like I said in January, every share is an entry into the Amazon drawing, and today I pulled the winner, so I'll be announcing that. If you want in February's Amazon gift card drawing, just share any videos from my page. So if you're on this one and you want to be in the drawing, click the share button and then drop below that you shared, and I will make sure you're in the drawing. I also have a really cool small business shout out that I'm going to do real quick, and then we're going to talk about love languages. So if you've been with me, this is episode 2. Episode 0 was the introduction, and episode 1, we talked about when your child is acting out, there's one question to ask yourself that you can pretty much immediately have a turnaround. So if you want to watch those, they're on my YouTube, and I'll link my YouTube above or below when I'm done. So first things first, Amazon gift card winner. Drop me a 1 if you like a drum roll. So drop me a 1, drop me some pictures of a drum, drop me, I don't know, emojis or whatever if there's a drum emoji. The winner for January's grand Amazon gift card was Melissa Ice. So if you know Melissa, she is a friend on my Facebook. So probably some of y'all know her. Go ahead and tag her below. And Melissa, if you're watching this, congratulations. And guys, if you didn't win, drop her some congratulations. Drum roll. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. So drop her congratulations. Like, why not be happy and excited for other people, even if you're not the winner? And like I said, if you want to win one of these, share this video, comment below that you shared, and then all through February, any video that you share gets you an extra entry. So each video you share is 1 entry into February's gift card drawing. Let me get water. I talk way too fast, and then my mouth starts getting real dry. Good afternoon, Lila. Okay, so the small business shout out that I want to do. Do any of you guys have kids who like to dig for rocks and fossils and just really, they like to uncover things. They like the adventure side of things.
Is this a real video?
Yes, it's a real video, Glory. Glory's like, are you really doing a video? So the brand that I'm going to shout out, so this is PR. So they sent me this to do a review. It is called Excavating Adventures. What they do is they have a whole bunch of different subscriptions, and it's like little dig sites. So this is just a sample one, but they have bigger ones. And it literally, it's hard like sand, and there are things hidden in it. So you have to excavate the things out. They send you a cute little, like, it looks like it's such a little official, like, discovery thing. That has a whole bunch of different cards of the different rocks, or not rocks, gems that you could find in your little specific excavating thing. Yeah, Kim, so if your kids like this, what they do is they do subscriptions. I believe it starts at like $15 for a subscription. But if you use my code, it's HELLO10, and I'll make sure I link that. I'll put their website and stuff up there. You get $10 off of your first order. So you can actually get it for much cheaper. So it says, remove the lid from the excavation tin. Use the wooden tool to uncover the specimen. So you take the little tool and you start digging. I'm not going to do this because it's going to make a mess all over my table. And I promised my daughter as soon as I did a video that she would be able to actually use it because she's excited. Dump the sand and the debris into the tray. So it comes with a little tray. You just dump everything in as you're scraping it out. Remove specimens and use the pick and brush to clean the specimens. So same thing. Oh, so here's a pick. So you're going to like take the rest of the sand off, and then you can like brush it away as well. Then you polish the specimens with a moist towel. So they give you a little towel. And they say if the sand is too hard, you can wet it a little bit. I dug a little hole. You can't really see, but it was very well done. It was very, not too easy to get into, but not too hard, if that makes sense. And then you use your cards to learn about the specimens. And then after this is done, it becomes your storage container for the gems that you dug out. So I thought it was really, really cool. Yeah. Then they also have like an online thing. You can log on and you can earn points as you get the different kits and like discover the different things. And they sent, oh, just a cute little sticker. But then they also sent a cute little bag to keep everything in once you open it. So again, I'm pretty impressed with this. It looks very realistic as far as like if you were doing some kind of like adventure style thing. I could very easily, like this would be so cool to order 12 or 10 of them. And to do it as like a birthday party thing. Each kid has their own, and you have like, you could do even a dinosaur themed birthday, or you could do like a geologist themed birthday, and you could like, each kid could have their own little set. So anyways, I thought it was really cool. If you would be interested in winning one of those, can you drop me a 2 down below? If there's enough people interested, usually I can talk to the brand and do some kind of giveaway as well. So usually I'm able to work it out to do a giveaway or 2 with these brands if my audience, enough of them want it. So if you want it, you've got to let me know, because if there's only 2 or 3 people, there's not gonna, you know, it's not worth it for the brand to do a giveaway if not many people are going to enter. So, oh, and there's a little magnifying glass. I guess I forgot that. Okay, so my daughter's going to be happy because now I've done the video, so I have fulfilled my end when it comes to these brands sending me things to review. So now she can play with it. So I'm pretty excited. And then we'll probably be ordering more because if she likes them, we order them. So I want to get into this week's episode. This is one that is very near and dear. So we've been talking about love languages, just to recap. Those of you who've watched the last few episodes, what do you think your kids' love language is? Do you have, got a snowplower going by, do you have any ideas what their love language is yet? Like, has anything jumped out to you? We're going to talk a little bit about why it's important to speak all 5 love languages. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So yes, if you do share, you are in the Amazon gift card drawing for this month. So just click the share button, comment below that you shared, and I will make sure and put you in the drawing. So I'm going to tell you a story. This is a story. These are 2 boys that I met years and years and years ago. When I met them, they were adults already, but they're 2 men. So touch words of affection. Okay. So many, many years ago, I met these 2 men, and their dad had just passed away. So one man told me that without a shadow of a doubt, he had nothing but fond memories about his dad. He talked about how his dad went to work and he was like the hardest worker that he knew. And how he took him to random like football games and out for ice cream and different little things like that. And you could just tell, like, he loved his dad very, very much. And he had no doubt that his dad loved him. Then the older brother would tell stories, and not in public, but, you know, intimately with just a few friends, of how he wasn't sure if his dad ever loved him. His dad was a cold man, and just a very different picture from the first man. And so when I met these 2 men, I was in the middle of teaching the 5 love languages from a teenager's perspective. So from a teenager relating to their parents. That's the first time I taught this, was to a class of teenagers. And so immediately in my mind, I was like, you know what? I bet the younger brother, his love languages were probably time and acts of service, which his dad was very, very good at. So he had no doubt that his dad loved him. His older brother, and after talking to them, I confirmed this. His older brother, his love languages were words of affirmation and touch. Their dad was a man of very few words. I believe they heard him say I love you a handful of times, not because he didn't. He just didn't know how to express it. He wasn't comfortable speaking those things. He was not very touchy-feely. So the older son never felt love because the way he received love was never spoken. It was never given. And it's funny because they come from the same family, a very good family, by the way. This was not a bad family at all. They were treated pretty much the same way growing up. There was no favoritism. And I've talked to many people in the family. Like, I did my research on this the first time I taught it. It just came down to the dad only spoke a couple love languages. And the one son, he happened to not receive those love languages. So when you're going through life with your own kids, you need to know a few things. One, your kids' love languages are going to change as they get older. Like, love languages aren't set in stone, period, but especially with kids. Kids are very emotional, very self-serving just by nature. So constantly, their love receptors are changing. So that's one reason it's very important to learn to speak all 5 love languages. You may think that your child has a certain love language, and you might be right, but they also have the other 4. And especially teenagers. Teenagers are ones that are really going to change. It's not going to be 1 love language or 2 love languages, and you're like, oh, heck yeah, like I can speak that one. You've got to speak all 5 to them. You have to keep their emotional tank full. And that's where, and I'm not saying that's like the end all be all to where you never have rebellious teens. I think probably that's in their nature, period. But from my experience and from the experience of a lot of other parents I've talked to, when your kid's emotional tank is full, at least the acting out is less. So just to give an example, and because adult love languages can change too. Now, if you're operating out of a scarcity mode, you may think you have 1 love language, but in reality, you're just craving that. So that's what like you're focused on. When I got married, my husband and I, we read this together. Like, we read it separately, but then once a week we would talk about it. So we read it together, I guess. It was one of the books that our premarital counselor, am I saying that right? Premarital counselor suggested that we read. So we read it in the first year, I think, of marriage, maybe the second year. My love languages were touch and time. Now, that made sense to me. Those are the things that I craved. Until just this past year, we read the book again, and we're going through it as a Sunday school class, and so we took the test. I was like, I've taken the test multiple times. I haven't taken it for a few years, however. So we took the test again, and touch and time is on the very bottom. Gifts and service are at the top. So I started thinking, and then I dug through a few psychology books because I am like a nerd when it comes to psychology, especially when it comes to like child psychology. So I'm reading through, and when a child is starved of certain love languages as a child, that automatically becomes their love language as an adult of how they receive it, but they have a very hard time giving it. And that was true because touch was my love language, but I wasn't that touchy-feely with other people. Time was my love language, but I wasn't someone who would like want to be with people all the time and hang out with people. Like, I didn't like giving my time. Because as a child, and I'm not speaking anything bad about my mom, I think that when you know better, you do better. And I don't think that she was ever necessarily taught amazing parenting skills. So touch and time were not 2 things we got a whole lot of. And actually, neither were words of affirmation. We got a lot of acts of service, and we got a lot of gifts. So when I grew up, I was starving for touch and for time. And so that's what I gravitated toward. That's how I filled my own love tank from other people. So that's how Brett had to speak to me for a long time. But he did very, very well knowing how to speak my love language and showing me that I was loved. That combined with me getting a relationship with God, me learning how to love myself, because my love should not come from other people. It should come from me. Like, I should be my biggest fan, not somebody else. Like, it's not their job to fill my cup. It's my job to fill my cup. Now, having said that, it is nice to feel love from your partner, right? Like, nobody wants to feel like their partner doesn't love them. So it flipped, and gifts and acts of service have probably been my love language all along, but I was so starved of the other two that my receptors weren't even open to my two natural love languages. I'm just going to use an example. My friend Tori, she does this advertising gig with us. So those of you that have been following me for a long time, you already know I had a career in marketing. I liked it, but a baby wasn't in the plans. When we found out we were pregnant, we did the daycare thing for 6 months. I personally hated it. Now, if you work outside of the home and you like it and it works for your family, I'm not speaking bad against anybody. I'm saying that was not for me. It's not what I wanted to do. So I started working online. I saw a friend that was advertising. I was like, teach me. I will do whatever you tell me to do. I learned. I eventually replaced my full-time income, and now I turn around and teach other people to do the same thing. I have for the last 5 years about. So my friend Tori, she started with this. Her daughter was older when she started in this. Her daughter was 3. She had been in daycare for 3 years. Again, it's not bad. I'm not speaking ill against daycare. She did not want to do it anymore. That's not the life that she wanted. She wanted to be a paid stay-at-home mom, so she made this work for her. Her daughter was almost 4 when they were able to pull her out of daycare. She was able to become a full-time mom, and she loved it. However, she was convinced right away that her daughter's main love language was touch and time, because she'd been in daycare for 4 years. For her, now every kid deals with stuff differently. For her daughter, she didn't see her mom a whole lot. Her mom would leave for work at 8 o'clock in the morning, not get back till 5 or 6 at night, bedtime, go to bed, wake up, do it again. And she worked 6 days a week. So she had her a couple nights a week, or a couple hours a night, and then she had her on Sunday. So for her daughter, she was craving time and touch from her mom. And so for a full year, she was convinced that her daughter's love language was time and touch. Very similar to me, except I didn't get that until I was older. Long story short, her daughter is almost 7 now. Her love languages are not time and touch. It took about a year for her to even it out. And again, not every kid's going to feel like that, but hers did, because that was something that was important to her. So I found it really cool, because that's my story, but I know a lot of kids, as they grow up, that's their story with whatever love language they didn't get a lot of as a kid. Now, words of affirmation is also one that is very common for boys to grow up, and that becomes their love language for a while, because they don't get a lot of words of affirmation from their fathers. Not because they don't love them, but a lot of men just don't know how to communicate feelings. They're not comfortable with it. So when you portray to your son that that's not a comfortable thing. What's up?
Can I say hi?
No, not right now. Have a seat. And then your son grows up, portrays that to their son. It turns into a cycle. So if you can learn to speak all 5 love languages right now to your kids, one, it guarantees that they're going to feel loved, because no matter what their love language is at whatever different time, right? Because they're going to change, you're speaking it to them. So it doesn't matter if it flip-flops from gifts to service and then service to affirmation. You're speaking all 5 of them on a weekly, if not daily basis. I honestly, I'm a checklist person, so I have a checklist written down, and I look at it at the end of every week, and every day I'll write down 1 or 2 things that I do specifically for Glory. Excuse me. And I'll write what category they fall in. So if at the end of the week, I have a whole bunch of some and then 1 column with nothing, I'll ask myself, okay, what can I do in the next day or 2 that's a words of affirmation, or that's touch? What can I do to make sure that that column is getting filled? Because there's going to be ones that are a little bit more comfortable for you than other ones, especially if you were raised in a home where not all 5 are spoken. So that's the first reason you want to learn all 5. You want to make sure your kid feels loved all the way through. The second reason to learn to do all 5, and I am reading notes, guys, sorry, I don't have a good memory. The second reason is you're raising adults who can speak all 5 love languages to their kids. I saw a quote yesterday. It said, you're not just raising your kids, you're raising your grandkids, because the way that you parent bleeds over to the way your kids parent. Now, some of us, the way we were parented are not ways that we would ever parent children. But we had to unlearn, and probably, speaking from experience, I had to make a lot of mistakes before I realized this isn't the cycle I want to continue on. So if you can teach your kids to receive 5 love languages and then to turn around and give 5 love languages, 1, they'll automatically be better parents, but 2, they'll just be better, like, productive citizens in general. Think about a world where everyone was comfortable speaking all 5 love languages. Everyone was comfortable walking down the street, making eye contact with people and like, oh, I love your dress. That's awesome. Or, man, that's a sharp tie. You're feeling strangers' emotional bank accounts. Oh, I thought that was my husband. He's supposed to be getting the car fixed, and like a random car pulled up. I was like, oh, maybe he got a rental. Now touch would be a little bit harder, right? Like, I'm not going to walk down the street and hug random people, but how many of y'all go to church and a lot of people are very huggy? I've even, like, there's men that hug each other. It's not a weird thing. Like, people think that women are just touchy-feely. There's plenty of men that are. How many of you, someone hugs you and you're like, oh, that's weird? It shouldn't be weird. It's just a way to like, show people affection. Gifts. How many people do you know are so dang stingy with their money? Like, if gifts were a freely given and a freely received thing, again, I honestly feel like the world would just be a better place. Acts of service. How many people do you know are so selfish with their time? They don't do anything for anybody unless something's going to come back to them. Like, I'll do this for you, but you have to do this for me. Why don't we just do things for other people because it's a way to show people that we care and trust that God will pay us either here or when we get to heaven. Like, we don't need to be compensated for it. And then, what's the last one? Touch, affirmation, gift, service, time. Same thing, time. How many of us are socially awkward? People never believe me when I say this, but I'm a huge introvert. I'm not extroverted whatsoever. I learned how to be a little bit more of an extrovert because of my job. Naturally, though, like, I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't need to, like, I don't want to spend time with people. But I've learned because, 1, my job, but then 2, because it shows people that I care about them. So, anyways, a little bit of a tangent there. But the whole point of this, if you're just tuning in, watch the replay. If you want to find out who the Amazon winner is, watch the replay. The small business shout out this week, or today, I guess, is Excavating Adventures. Their boxes are like so cool if you have kids who are into like digging and discovering things and all of that good stuff. And then watch the video to realize why you need to learn to speak all 5 love languages and how that turns your kids not only into better parents, but just in general, it'll make the world a better place. So, hope you got some value from this. If you did, feel free to share, and I will talk to you guys later.